Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Hammer Podcast. Today is, I believe, what is it? The 17th of January, 2023. And I'm speaking with Nicole. Nicole went to the Family Foundation School. What year did you go there, Nicole?
2002 to 2004.
Okay. So she's going to give her story today. And if we have any questions, I'll jump in. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and put in some comments. If any bad comments out there, I will be deleting them. So make some good comments. Let us know how we're doing. Okay, Nicole, please. It's all yours.
Hi. So my journey started in 2002. Actually, it more so started around 2001, but I didn't end up in this school until 2002. Where do we start? So we started with my parents were getting a divorce, and I think that's like how a lot of things start. And I was really mad at my mom for not like trying to work harder at it, but like I know she had did like everything she could, and there was a lot of like, things that, wasn't in her control.
How old were you?
11. 12. Sorry, she's in the background.
That's okay. Usually, doing what kids normally do,
Protesting.
Go ahead.
To say the least. So I was very like angry with my mom, and took it out on her a lot, and basically one day was like, I want to go live with my dad. And she was like, have at it, because you're a handful. So she called my dad, and that's where a lot changed.
Oh.
So I went to live with my dad.
Okay.
And my mom's in the background. She said for like a month. Yeah, and in that month my life changed quite a bit. And so did everybody else's. Privileged information here. My stepbrother was a couple months older than me, and he forced himself on me. And I told my mom, actually, I think I told the guidance counselor in school, who in turn asked permission to tell my mom. And that obviously, I was 12 years old. That led to CPS and investigations and questioning and all of the above. And after so long, as a 12-year-old child, I was like, screw it. I lied. I don't want to deal with this anymore. And, during that time, I was being bullied in school by my stepbrother and all his friends. I was a chunky kid, so they, were throwing Twinkies at me and all different types of things. So after all that happened, I remember like things getting much harder. I wasn't an easy kid to begin with, but then after all that happened, it was like mentally craziness also. And I remember, I told my sister, I told her I was going to cut my wrists, and I I scratched at them. I didn't really cut them, but, I was obviously showing some symptoms of needing help. My mom sent me to Four Winds. I was there for 3 weeks as she holds her fingers up. And
Four Winds, what is that? Is that a school or?
It is
adolescent psychiatric hospital.
An adolescent psychiatric hospital.
Okay.
So I went there for 3 weeks, and being like, a 12-year-old child, I'm around.
So you go there till you were 13.
Okay. I was around children who were, a lot worse off than I was. And I picked up on those things. And I came home and I rebelled even harder and, did rebellious teenage things.
Do help.
I forgot about that. I helped hairspray. They like taught me about that in there, and I was like, "Oh, what's this?" And I didn't do it right because I didn't get high, but I did it. I tried at least. I taught my cousin too. That was like a big thing. I thought I taught my cousin because I still don't think we did it right.
Did they put you on any medication or anything, or?
You were already on.
I was already on medication.
Oh, okay.
Ma, do you want to join?
I guess I have to. I have to get the story straight.
She said, "Well, we have to get the story straight." So,
Sure.
here comes Mom.
Okay.
Hello.
Oh, look,
Hello.
we match.
Okay, so you're
This
at
is
the
called fruit juice.
fruit juice.
Truth juice. Truth juice. I'm trying to say that 3 times fast. So go ahead.
So psychiatric hospital, huffing
3
spray
weeks
paint.
was a long time for a 13-year-old to be in the psychiatric hospital too.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
it's like an eternity sometimes.
Well, yeah. It just was indicative of the issues that she was having. It really like slammed it home that she was not doing well.
Gotcha. Yeah, so that led towards Family Foundation.
It did, unfortunately.
So I came home from there and she like showed me like a packet and she was like, "Hey, like I think this might help you, like look it over and see like what you think." And I was like hesitant, but I looked it over and was like, "Yeah, this sounds good. Like let's try it."
Hancock, New York. Were you pretty close? Do you live pretty close from there? Or?
It was about a 2-hour drive.
2-hour drive. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. It's
And
not
it
too
was
bad.
it was recommended by my mom worked in the school district for many years and it was recommended by her coworkers and social workers there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay. You said you were at the. Would you say Four Winds?
Yeah.
Okay. How long were you? You said 3 weeks.
3 weeks, right around the time she turned 14.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, like you said, you got a pamphlet from Family Foundation. You brought it to her. She was kind of skeptical about it, or maybe not skeptical, but you were kind of wondering, is this maybe where I should go?
yeah, let's try it.
Yeah,
Man.
well, it was highly recommended by school counselors, and the words they used were very persuasive.
Persuasive, yes.
Yeah, because they told me, basically, if I didn't intervene, she may not make it through high school. She probably will never go to college. So whatever money I was saving for college would be never used for college because she might not make it. I mean, I don't know what this particular counselor was, I don't know his connection to this school or why he felt that way.
But it is known that most of these people who were pushing the school were part of the cult that, like they must have profited in some way or something because a lot of these people that were pushing it.
I don't know. This one particular man saved one daughter, and she was. Honestly, he did a spectacular job with her. So my
sister,
right. I really, what he told me weighed very heavily on me because I admired him and I felt grateful that he took my other daughter under his wing because she struggled as well. We had I had a lot of issues with her as well. But she came around and did much better. And she was a little bit older than Nicole. So, it was a little different. The circumstances were a little bit different. But he helped me so much with her that when he was giving me advice on Nicole, I really put weight into that. So, and I'll never forget the day I dropped her off at that school thinking, oh, this is perfect. It's peaceful here. It's going to be great. Yeah, no.
Go
Right.
there.
And he was probably getting maybe a kickback
I
from the school, a little stipend maybe.
I really don't know. I wouldn't even know how to look into that, but
Okay.
I really feel strongly that had he not been so adamant with me, I would have definitely taken some, more steps to look into what was going on.
Right.
But he was, like I said, he saved my one daughter, so I gave him a lot of credit.
But there's also like a lot of the students that end up there are given the same spiel, like, oh, they're not going to make it to
Yep.
a high school, they're not going to make it to college, so you might as well.
They may not make it to live.
They're not.
What they were telling
They're not
me.
going to live to go to college. So if you don't act now and use their college fund, then they might not be alive. So go ahead and do it.
They might.
And
They
then
might. They might
they
end up
use that
dead
for-
or in prison. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yep.
They
Or
use-
drug addict.
Right.
Oh, they
Or
do.
drug
They scared parents to death.
Oh,
is what
sure.
they did.
They're smooth talkers. They know exactly how to
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
talk to install fear into you to go, okay, maybe I should send my kid here.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So you get all this information. You decide to go with it because he obviously helped your sister out. You gave him credit.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get there. Did you drop her off?
My mother and I dropped her off.
Okay.
And my mother and I both left there thinking, there were religious statues everywhere.
Everywhere.
And they pretty much told us that they would follow our religious, what we were involved with, and that each person would be able to follow their own faith.
Right.
Or be confused on your faith because you're going to Jewish services on Friday, you're going to Christian on one day, Catholic another day, and what, Presbyterian? Every religion. We did it. We celebrated all of it.
And I wasn't even aware of that. And at that time, it was important to me at that time. So
Right.
and my mother,
She's a diehard Roman Catholic.
yeah, my mother is definitely a diehard Roman Catholic.
Well, you have to consider though, you're in New York, right?
Yeah.
A lot of religions. It's not like Utah where you have just Mormons.
Yeah, no. It's very diverse up here.
Yeah, they have to accommodate everybody. That's
and that was
they
fine
did.
with me. I was fine with that. But my feeling when I dropped her off was it's peaceful. They're getting through to the kids, and the kids gave us the tours. So, and all the kids were, respectful, and they had manners, and I was impressed. I was impressed.
You better.
Yeah, I was definitely impressed.
Oh man.
So when I got there, they took me into the girls' locker room. Two senior member students and I believe one staff member. They strip you down naked at 14 years old. Strip you down naked, cough, squat, do the whole exchange. Go into the shower gym that has 2 posts and 5 shower heads on each. There was multiple times that all of us girls had to shower in there at the same time. Awkward. Never done that before. Don't ever want to do it again.
Yeah.
But I'm prepared if I ever have to. I have a big problem with privacy. I don't know what it is. So basically you go in, you do the whole shower, lice treatment, like as if you're going into jail or something like that.
This really bothers me too, because these kids coming into this school are not coming from poor families where that we have to worry about bringing lice in or disease. These
Right.
people are paying through the teeth, and they're coming from really good homes because their parents are really worried about them, and you're going to treat them. They treated them like criminals. They really treated them like criminals.
No, it was worse than a criminal.
I heard Margaret. I did an interview with Margaret, and she was saying the same thing. They made you squat and cough. I'm thinking,
A 14-year-old
how would
girl?
a 12-year-old or even a 14-year-old, if they haven't been to prison or jail, how would they know to stuff contraband up their butt, so to speak? You know,
Yeah.
who's gonna? They don't know that. You know,
Plus,
unless they're hardcore criminals.
and she wasn't there because she had a drug problem. She was there because she had emotional problems.
Oh, but I
Right.
had to make up a drug problem because I had to be cured of something.
yeah.
I-
She was there
Yeah.
really because she had emotional issues. And that was the bottom line. And for them to put her through what they did right on her first day,
Yeah, yeah. That's,
And then when you're in there, you're not allowed to call your parents.
nope.
What is it? 6 months in the beginning? Whatever it was, I think I talked to her maybe 3 to 5 times the whole time I was there for 5 minutes each
they
time.
were monitored. The calls were monitored.
Every call was
The
monitored.
letters were monitored. The calls were monitored. I can't tell you how many nights.
We weren't even allowed to dial the phone call. Like somebody would sit
Right.
there with the call list and the approved numbers. They would dial the call, get the person on the phone, and then transfer it to the phone
Right.
where they
Now-
sat and listened to your conversation.
Okay.
You only had 5 minutes, so you're
Right.
not getting much out in that 5 minutes. If you get that 5 minutes.
And even
No, I-
the letters that came home were redacted, or if they
Right.
weren't positive, they were not allowed to send them. Half the mail we sent her didn't get to her.
More than half.
Yeah, I mean,
Now, I
it
have
was-
to ask. Nicole's
Camille.
mom. Camille. I'll just call you Camille. Okay. I don't know if you wanted your name out there, but Camille, when you saw that, the redacted letters, did that send up a red flag?
Oh, it did. I
Okay.
called, I talked, they just had.
They would
and the-
settle her down.
Yeah, they would settle me down, whatever their words were. And to be honest, I have very poor memories. I have a memory issue.
Mhm.
So I don't remember the specifics of it all. I generally take away impressions. And
They were well coursed on that.
yeah, they really were very good at talking me down. And I can remember I got privileges once to take her away for the weekend, and I can't.
Weekend.
Yeah, you don't remember that. I have pictures though, so I can prove it.
I remember being away for 3 hours
No.
after I read you my dishonesty list.
No, we had a weekend away.
When was
And
that?
yeah, we stayed
The
at
very end?
no. Not the very
I don't
end.
remember this.
It was probably a year or 18 months into it. And she was doing well enough to be able to leave the campus and come away with me. And I forgot where I was going with that, but
You remember me coming away and spending a weekend?
she did not speak a lot at all. I think, looking back
The whole
on it-
time before I was there, I wasn't allowed to speak at all, even to the people around me. I was on sanctions called no speak until spoken to, blackout, exile, work sanction. There was a point where I was allowed to talk. This was like a good thing for me. I was no speaking till spoken to, not just complete blackout, where if somebody didn't initiate conversation with me first, I would have to raise my hand and wait to be called on to speak. And you're not allowed to like make cues. You're not allowed to be like, hey, like you have to just sit there like this, and you're not allowed to make eye contact, like nothing. And that was like minor compared to the blackout that I was normally on, because I was on blackout from my family, like at all times, because I was a master manipulator, because I would try to tell them, and they didn't like that.
She is a manipulator, though. She actually she was. I won't say that she still is, but she was back then.
But you also spoke your mind too, didn't you, Nicole?
Oh yeah, and I still do. Can you tell?
Does.
They don't like that. They don't like it when people speak their
Nope.
minds.
Nope.
And people still don't like it, and it still comes out.
That's how you are, Nicole. You know what I mean?
It is.
That's how you
I know
are.
who's going to change it.
No.
That's right. Did you? I know. Margaret was talking about people being wrapped up in tarps and duct tape. Did you ever see that?
Did she go to the family school?
Yes.
Yes.
I never heard
My
of that
mom
one.
doesn't know about this.
Oh.
I believe one of my classmates was, yes,
Oh dear God.
in the isolation room.
Oh my God.
They wrapped you in. She said they wrap you in a tarp and duct tape, and you're not allowed to. You can't even. You go to when you go to the bathroom, or you, as you said, menstruate on. You just rot on yourself.
So if you got to use the bathroom, that was basically a privilege.
Yeah.
If you were lucky enough to be able to use the bathroom, you have to tell somebody, they have to go tell this one, they have to coordinate bringing you to the bathroom if they care that much, if they want to bring you to the bathroom. If not, like, you're SOL and you're going to figure it out, and they're not going to bring you clothes to change into. You're going to sit in that, because how dare you do that?
Yeah.
And it's, like, you could tell them, I have to go really bad. I have to go really bad. And it's no urgency to them.
When is this? When you're in
Isolation
the corner?
room.
Oh, just the isolation.
Isolation room, quiet room. I mean, in the corner, you would just have to stand there. I was standing in the corner all the time.
All the time.
And you just had to raise your hand and wait for somebody to decide to call on you. They would just walk past you and act like they didn't see you. I was also on a sanction called Invisible for many months, where basically everybody had to pretend like they didn't see me and I was not there. And that's still like a big, confidence, like,
Sure.
Like, you don't see me. You
Your
don't know.
self-esteem goes right down the tubes. Yep.
Oh,
She
yeah.
didn't have any when she went.
Forget it.
Just knocked it right. Whatever she even had
Yeah.
was knocked out of.
Made it
left
worse. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was a time I was on exile. I was on exile multiple times, but this specific time I was standing in the hallway. It was like a long hallway. The lockers at the bottom, and there was like a nasty carpeted shelf. And you stand there, you eat your breakfast, lunch, dinner, you do your homework if you're allowed in school, which I was, for the most part, not allowed in school because I was on work sanction most of the time. A whole year, no school. And this was like my middle school year. It was my 8th grade?
It was when you first got there. Yeah.
Yeah. My 8th grade year. I'm standing there at breakfast, and I'm, trying to eat my breakfast. And this is when the incident with Tom happened. The night before, I know Tom was in Family 7, and he went and told the staff that he was suicidal and he needed help. They told him he was being attention seeking. And they told him to go to sleep. And he went to the dorm that night. He went to sleep. He woke up in the morning, and they went down back to the house for breakfast. And he just ran up to the edge and threw himself off the balcony. He landed right in front of my face.
Man.
Choked on his own blood, and it was horrific.
Most of the staff there were actually senior kids that were senior there, correct?
Yeah, for the most part, there was about 30 to 40 students in each family, and
Right.
each family there was 8 families.
And nobody knew CPR. Nobody knew anything medical to help this guy.
I don't know if anybody had a CPR certification, but nobody, from what I remember, nobody even thought to call 911.
What?
Like, that's not even like I just remember, I'm pretty sure it was Angelo, big guy, standing over him, just like, kind of trying to figure out what the hell to do. What to do would have been take him seriously and get him some damn help.
They were very dismissive of so much because when that happened to her, I said, well, is she getting some therapy? She watched somebody die right in front of her.
Oh, he died.
He died. It was suicide. And no therapy. She got no help whatsoever. And all I could think was, well, what the hell kind of a place is this? In the normal world, anyone who goes through something that traumatic is going to get some help.
Sure.
And they gave her no help. And when I kept inquiring, there was a staff member there that said, like, she wouldn't come right out and say it to me, but she went around the bush and she
kept hinting.
She kept hinting at me that, you know, I don't think Nicole belongs here. I really think they're making it, they're damaging her more than they're helping her. And when, you know, I heard this a couple of times, and then they called me and told me they were going to put her on work sanction again, which means they're pulling her out of school and she's going back to work in the fields picking rocks. And I was just like, oh no. We're not going back down that road again. I'm coming to get her. And let me tell you, they were not happy about that.
I was.
She was.
Did you sign some kind of contract or anything with them?
Yeah, in the beginning, and it was about being paid. And I don't really remember the financial. Yeah, I was.
Well, I'm sure. But what I'm saying is a contract, like, you know, you can't just rip her right out of that place. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, they didn't. I don't remember there being any conflict about me pulling her out. They were not happy. They tried to talk me out of it. Sure. But I was adamant that I was done with this, and there was no way they were pulling her out of school again. And so they let her come home with me. And of course, you know, she was only home a few months when she was unraveling again.
I ran away. I didn't know how to take it.
Oh, she was a mess. And I reached out to them again because I didn't know what to do. I'm desperate now. Now she's hanging out with the lowlifes. Like, it was bad. Now I'm worried about drugs at this point. And I reached out to them again, and they offered to send a team to pick her up.
Mind you, I still wasn't doing any drugs.
And so when they offered
I did try to overdose, though.
You did do that, but that was a couple years later. But when they did this, when they offered to send them this team, I was like, I'll think about that, because I was so horrified at the thought.
She threatened it.
I did threaten it, but I was never going to let somebody come and take her away.
So you sent your daughter there. They screwed her up, and then
she was only screwed up when she went. Okay, she was even more screwed up now. Reason she would have gone there if she didn't have so many issues. There were. They
have the gall to say, "Hey, you want to bring her back?"
Yeah.
Oh, some people did send them back.
Some people. Oh, there were people.
There was a couple that went back.
That was the other thing that the school did, was they connected us parents to each other. Mm-hmm. So that when we were having an issue with one of our children, we would be on this website, whatever it was, for 12 and 12 parents. That's what they called it.
Like Al-Anon, wasn't it?
Oh no, that's a whole nother issue. And so we would all be talking about it. And so the parents would do their job of talking you down off the ledge of, I'm taking my kid out. I'm done. So the other parents would be like, no, don't do that. You got to give it time. It's got to work. It's got to go. And the other thing that they had you do as a parent was go to Families Anonymous meetings. So every week I went to Families Anonymous meetings, and the only people that were at these meetings were family school parents that were in my area. And so you would sit there, you would talk about what your kid had done before to get them in there. And then you would talk some more about leaving them there and how, the school is helping them, blah, blah, blah. It just kind of saturated your brain with, I'm doing the right thing.
Almost like brainwashing almost.
It was definitely brainwashing.
We all got brainwashed.
Yeah, we really did, because I got to tell you, when I took her out of there, then your brain starts to be like, what? And then she started telling me all these things that were, she could say
little by little, because I didn't know how to even talk to her anymore because I hadn't spoke to her in 2.5 years.
Yeah.
I hadn't spoke to her. I hadn't spoke to my sister. When I was there, they told her, get rid of all people, places, and things. My mom put the house up for sale, moved to a whole new, an hour away, bought a new house. I had met my stepfather a couple times before I went to the school, and then I came home and they were getting married a couple days later. I had a new family. I had a new address. I had a new town. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was in shell shock.
Yep.
And then
all on their advice, not the marriage or anything, but moving.
Yeah.
Right.
Get rid of everything.
Get rid of, a new start, new life. And this was told to me by the school. It was told to me at Families Anonymous. You have to get her out of that environment, away from her old friends.
Mind you, this was an emotional issue. I wasn't being persuaded to do drugs. I wasn't having sex. I wasn't doing any of that stuff. It was no people, places, and things for me.
Right.
It was me for me.
Right. It was emotional. Yes.
Yeah. And the other thing I'd really like to touch on is the medical negligence. You didn't get medically cared for. I was a little chubby kid when I went there, and they were not okay with chubbiness. I ran 1.5 miles before every meal. So that's
4.5 miles.
4.5 miles every day. In the beginning, it was very hard, but then I was very fit. And then I got to eat half portions if I got to eat an actual meal, because normally it was mapo soy or mapo tuna. And they fed that to you raw. That was not cooked. You ever see like the refrigerator Boca burgers, soy edition?
Mm-hmm.
So they're normally frozen. They come out the freezer. You open it up, you put it in the microwave, you cook it, and you put it on some bread with some cheese and some ketchup. Their addition was you keep it in the fridge, you take it out of the fridge, you open the packet, you slap it on an English muffin, and there you go. You get that and a cup of water this big, and good luck.
So the food was shit, basically.
I mean, if you got the real food, it wasn't so bad. The coleslaw, though, raisins should have never been in there, or grapes, but that's besides the point.
She lost about 100 pounds
in 6 months.
In very, very little time.
The first 6 months I was there, I lost 100 pounds.
Well, they're practically starving you, is what they were doing.
They did.
Yeah.
Making you
And
exercise.
made her exercise. Yeah.
And made
Plus,
if it was raining, I got to go run in the gym, so I didn't have to go up and down hills. So that was like a whew, thank God.
Plus, you had work detail where you're picking up rocks all over the place.
Yes, I'm filling 5-gallon buckets of rocks and carrying them from point A to point B. I built a whole road going nowhere.
I'm not sure how hot it gets in New York, because I've never been there, but I'm sure it gets pretty hot.
In the summer, it can get up there.
Yep.
Like, close to 100.
Yep.
Okay.
And I lived on work sanction. Like that was like my jam, because I didn't go to school at least half the time I was there. I was on work sanction, which means you're not allowed to do like schoolwork at all. There's no schoolwork for you. So in the meantime, I lost all that weight, and I remember specifically being in Washington, D.C. for a music concert. That they made me sit out of, by the way. I practiced all this time. I hand wrote the music because I didn't have it memorized. They had me handwrite. I have books of stuff that I have handwritten under my bed in my bedroom now, because that was like too valuable. I spent way too much time doing that. I'm not throwing that away. I like wrote pieces of music. It's probably plagiarism, actually. I wrote the whole like big book. And it's probably why I had carpal tunnel from writing constantly. But anyways, I ended up having gallbladder attacks constantly. I was in Washington, D.C., and I was hurled up in a ball next to the toilet, screaming in agony of pain. And I'm 16 at the point. I'm begging for help. Actually, I was 15, begging for help. And they said to me, "Oh, you probably just ate too much." First off, what am I eating? Because I'm not allowed. So what am I eating? And this was happening to me multiple times a day at this point. When she pulled me out, I ended up within 24 hours, it was happening again. And I'm in the hospital and I'm going in for emergency surgery the next morning to get my gallbladder removed because I had over 1,000 gallstones.
It was about to explode, probably. Huh?
Yeah. I was in agony and I was told, oh, you're being attention seeking, you're eating too much. There was no access to 911. There was no access to CPS. There was no access to your parents. There was no access to help in general. And then the other thing that's crazy is the police around there were taught, pick them up and bring them back if they run away.
And the townspeople did not like
yes. And then you're sitting there wondering, okay, this person ran away barefoot in the middle of the winter. Like, are they psycho? Or maybe is it just that bad?
Yeah.
And like, you're seeing people run away in flip-flops in the middle of the winter because like you would get, if you ran away too often or they thought you were going to run away, they take your shoelaces and all your shoes and everything. So you'll either have no shoelaces in your shoes and the tongues hang in and the shoe flapping off so you can't run, or you're wearing shower shoes. And people are still running away. I mean, hello.
Yeah. I mean, if you're desperate to get out of there, you're going to do anything.
Yes.
Yeah. Even if it means running barefoot in the snow.
Right. And we had somebody run barefoot in the middle of winter. And as a police officer, you're trained to bring them back. This is a minor.
Or you're paid to bring them back.
This is all part of the cult that originated in East Ridge. And
yeah,
all of these schools are crazy connected. Everything's connected.
I don't understand how they can justify treating any human being the way that they treated these kids. Never mind an adult, but a child. I mean, these are kids. They really are kids. How they can justify and you know, we weren't aware of the depth and the magnitude of the sanctions that they would tell us, oh, she's on work detail or whatever.
Work sanction.
But we didn't really comprehend what they were talking about when they would tell us these things.
Oh, you're working from the time you open your eyes to the time you go to sleep, and you're not sitting down in that time either. And you're not allowed to sit.
And because some of our kids were so troubled and you know, they would embellish and manipulate us. So, you know, they would tell us these things and sometimes we're not going to believe them because we've already had experience with these kids that they would do whatever they had to do to get what they wanted.
You were also told that we were manipulated.
And that's how they used it against you, right?
Yeah.
There.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
They would tell them constantly, oh, she's just manipulating you back to her same old thing.
Yep.
Like, you can't believe her.
Yeah. And because there's a history there with that child, they didn't
take
arrive
advantage.
there because they were great kids. You know, we had trouble with them. So you're kind of stuck in that place of, who do I believe? What do I take away from this? And I have to tell you, after the experience with putting her back on, her Sweet 16,
tell them.
We were supposed to meet up. Was I there?
I had a basketball game that
night.
On my 16th birthday, I had a basketball game. And I was supposed to go to my basketball game. My mom was going to be there. My dad was going to be there. It was going to be a good time. Now, when you're there, you don't celebrate holidays. You're not allowed to have gifts. You're not allowed, like, none of that. So the fact that they were, like, allowing me to see my family for my 16th birthday was a big deal. And last minute at dinner that night, we were leaving in an hour. They pulled me up to the table. And there was, like, the other thing. There was table topics where they just, like, tell you everything that's wrong with you and just, like, berate your whole confidence. And then you also have to, like, write a dishonesty list and tell everybody everything you've ever done, including, like, if you've ever masturbated, when you masturbated, the time you masturbated, how'd you do it? When did you do it? Like, all of that. Back to the topic. I was brought up to the table, And I think it was something like I gave somebody an attitude and they put me back standing in the corner. And they didn't even have the decency to tell my parents that I wasn't going to be there.
Right. I was there. I remember being at the game.
And my dad went there and they showed up with like gifts for me. And my dad showed up with like these Italian cookie platters. What the heck were them things called? They used to bring them to like they would hand them out at holidays, like Christmas. He brought like 4 or 5 of them or a bunch, I don't know. And the school happily took them and was just like, oh, you don't get any. I got to look at it. I got to like be like, you're welcome, guys. But I didn't get to like enjoy any of it. I didn't get to see my family. They weren't even.
And they stole your gifts.
Yeah. And they stole every single one of my gifts.
She never got any of the gifts.
I had like a Tiffany's necklace. I remember opening everything. I remember seeing everything and being super excited. And then I remember them saying, you have to put them in this bag and we're going to hold them for you. We're going to send them to your parents. I remember
Yeah.
every single thing went in the plastic bag and went to the principal's office in the school. And I believe it was dispersed amongst the staff. They never got it back. I never got it back. It was basically like this is what you didn't get.
Yeah.
Because they let me open every single thing and then they had me put every single thing in the bag and hand it back over.
So Camille, was that the time when you said enough's enough? This is it.
It was shortly after that.
It was shortly after. That was about 3 months later. I don't remember exactly what made it. I think I had just had it up to here.
You said they were putting me back on work sinks.
Well, that was the bottom line. Was there was no way I was letting her miss more school and be put, because
I wasn't gonna go be a sweetheart after they just did that to me.
I wouldn't either.
I'm not a rollover type of person.
No.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, I'll fight you back. How about that?
I would be extremely pissed off. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was pissed.
And I showed them.
Yes.
But I didn't know about them taking away her gifts and all that. See, that's the thing.
She didn't know until I got
you
home.
don't get a lot of that information until, even from her, even when she first came home, I didn't get any. This took years to pull out of her all the things. She
still didn't know about the like people being duct taped and
I never heard that one before.
I think it was carpets. I don't think it was like
carpets.
Yeah, like dirty, feces carpets, like things that weren't cleaned before the next person.
Still just as bad,
Yeah.
This is.
It's inhumane what they did to those children. It really is.
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of people that have been in other troubled homes, and it's not as bad as this one. This is just like, wow,
I watched The Last Stop on was it Netflix? Prime,
Amazon Prime. It's called The Last Stop.
I don't know if
The Last Stop.
The Last Stop. It's a documentary.
No, but I will definitely watch it.
It's on the schools in Massachusetts that were run by Joe Ricci.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one who basically started this whole trouble school thing. And the family.
And he is on Mitt Romney's team, by the way. Don't come for me, government. But he's on his team, and like
maybe is he currently? I don't know, I really suggest you watch that, because I think he was the founder of how these schools started to operate, because he was doing it in the 70s.
And there's another movie also that one of my classmates, Survivor 993, you've probably had contact with her. She recently wrote a book. It's not out yet, but it's available for pre-order. I think it's called Survivor. And she also played in a movie documentary called The Kids Are Not All Right, or The Kids Aren't All Right.
Right.
That one's on IMBD, and that one is specifically about the Family Foundation School. I didn't watch that one yet. Because there's been a lot going on this week. I really just started opening up and talking about this whole experience within the last 2 weeks. Because before that, it was very difficult to talk about.
Well,
My mom and sisters it was very hard for them to hear, and they did not want to hear anything of it.
well, one thing I'm happy to see is you two together. At least you
We
two
work
still have a
really hard.
relationship. Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
We worked
Yes.
really hard to get back to a place where we could speak to each other, because a lot of the times it was crying and yelling because we couldn't, and there was just so much hurt and resentment between us. It really destroyed our family, because I have 3 daughters, and this it broke apart our relationships with each other.
Yes.
My sister, like my middle sister, she's the one that I confessed that I was like cutting my wrist to and all of that, and promised she wasn't going to tell my mom, and of course told my mom, because like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
She actually went to school to be a social worker, and when I came home was working for CPS to prevent placement of children like this in homes like this. She ended up doing preventative case manager. I know I gave you her info.
Yeah, she's going to be on.
Yeah.
We already got a date set for her.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
So, yes.
Yeah, and
she
her oldest sister was already away at college when all of this was starting to happen.
and she
so-
lived there, so she wouldn't really like see it as much. But then Tina, she used to send me letters in like these neon colored envelopes, and that's like how I knew like somebody was still thinking of me. Because when I wasn't on Family Blackout, I got them, but it was like maybe 2 to 3 months out of the whole time I was there sporadically that I wasn't on Family Blackout. And she like caught on and just started sending empty neon envelopes just so that like I knew somebody was thinking about me. And I believe anyway. And I would see it in the pile of letters, and you know, it would just get put in a pile, not given to me, but at least I saw like she got very creative. She wrote the neon colored envelopes and sent them off and was like, hey, by the way, we're still thinking about you. She made video documentaries. She made like a photo album. She kept a journal for me. She wrote me
Nice.
letters all the time. She like
Nice.
in the journal, she would write like, she would introduce me to her friends and all of that.
And they still haven't gotten that relationship back on track. It was so destroyed by this school.
Well, when I came home, I treated her like shit too.
Yeah. Because she was mad at her for coming to me with her concerns, and she was mad at me for placing her.
Not even so much. I didn't know how to talk to anybody. I didn't know how to treat anybody. I haven't spoke to anybody in years. I don't even know what I'm doing. From what I saw, we're supposed to attack each other because that's what happened to me at school. Like you stand up at the table and you're told, this is what's wrong with you. This is what's wrong with you. This is what's wrong with you. Fix this, fix this, fix this. You're not told, hey, you're doing great. You're a good person. You're amazing. You're lovely. You're pretty. You're not told that stuff. They're telling you the negative. They're telling you the bad. So when you get out of there and you've never spoke to anybody in the last 2.5 years, and now you're home with your mom and your sister and these people, you don't know how to talk to them. You haven't spoke to anybody in 2.5 years. Literally.
Well, at least the healing process is beginning. At least.
We worked hard on that.
Yes. And you're going to have to work on it more. You know what I mean?
Oh,
it's an ongoing process.
Right.
But Camille, I'm a parent too. I have a 25 and a 26-year-old. And just the hardest thing is to tell them I screwed up.
Yeah. Oh no, I told her. I've apologized. I
see the conflict. It's tough. And I'm sure Nicole, you're a parent too. You know as well too. I mean, it's
nobody's perfect.
I told her multiple times. I don't blame you. If I was my mom, I would have sent me away too, because I wasn't an easy kid.
We all make mistakes. We learn from them, and we go on with our lives. But we also want to see the people who did this, who separated this family, to have justice served. And
like the least you could do is give my mom her money back so I could go back to school, because I'm having a real hard time with this financial aid, and I could really use that money for schooling because I would really, really like to make it somewhere.
She
Well,
tells
you know,
me
there are lawsuits going on with it. I mean, even though it closed down, I believe it was 2015 or something like that.
Yep.
And they changed the name. I think it was called Allenwood.
Allywood Academy.
Allenwood, yeah. And then they just shut down.
And now
There's
they're a sports center.
There's still lawsuits going on. They're still fighting that. So I hope they take them for everything they have. You know,
because he owns the owners own half of Hancock now. They sold the school and they went and bought like everything in Hancock. And I don't understand how, first off, with all of this out here, how are you guys giving them even business? Number one. Number two, why are they allowed to keep that money and continue going when we're sitting here struggling? We can't even go to school and provide for our families because we gave you every time we had. And it's like, come on, like sometimes, listen, I don't care to see somebody suffer. I don't want to see what happened to me happen to you, but I would like that money back and I would like you to pay my college tuition and, you know, maybe help me with the down payment on my house. That would be nice.
problem
maybe you
is,
should look into the lawsuit idea because
yes, yes. Problem is, I mean, I'm sure lawyers give, you know, advice for free, you know, something to think
they
about.
do.
Something to
That's
think
one
about.
thing I'm hoping talking out will maybe bring a lawyer my way or something.
But like I said, with that reporter that we were talking about before,
Mhm.
you know, she could get that story out there too. You know,
She did a special interview. It's going to be a special interview on ABC.
good. So it's not over yet with
No.
them. I mean, even though they're closed down, there's still repercussions. So,
And the biggest thing for me is when they were confronted by lawyers and that such, like, wasn't him burning the records and all of that, like, isn't that an admission of guilt? Like, to me, that's an admission of guilt. If you're refusing to let me see it and you're going to burn all the records, like,
you got something to hide. Yeah.
yeah, you're hiding
Definitely.
it. You're hiding
Guilty
something.
is charged. But that's not how the law sees it. I'm not sure about the statutes and the laws there, but maybe it's something to look into, you know, do some research.
Yeah.
I mean, basically that's pretty much all you can do is
Yeah.
just gather the information and send it to whoever needs to be sent to and see if they can get the ball rolling, or if they say, well, we can't do anything. Well, I mean,
They're talking about the only thing that they opened up lawsuits for was sexual assault. And
But there was emotional abuse.
yes.
there was
There was
emotional,
physical, there was neglect. There was all
yeah.
kinds of things there. Yeah, I would definitely say he should pursue. It's worth it. They're not going to take you on as a client unless they can get something for you. So do it.
I mean, maybe, and I'm not sure, I'm just guessing here.
Yeah.
But maybe the lawsuit that's going on is probably being done by one firm who probably might be able to take on more clients, and, you know, whatever they win, they keep it, then they disperse it to the rest of the victims, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but
Brothers
something to look
and
into.
sisters, if you're watching this, reach out to me on Facebook and let me know.
Yes. Like I said, it'll be on YouTube for people to see if you want to share that too. That's great. You know, I don't get paid for this. I just do it as a service.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
I
thank you for
appreciate
doing
it
that.
because
Yeah.
So, I mean, we managed to get one shut down, Agape boarding school. I don't know if you've ever heard of them.
Mhm.
They're in Missouri.
Where? Oh, Missouri.
They just got shut down. And
You know what worries me though is, do they open up again under a different name?
some
Probably.
do. Some do.
Allywood
Um,
Academy.
Well,
Yep.
the word needs to get out there that this is not helpful. This
They
is
go-
not a way to treat. How do you sell it as a therapeutic school and not provide therapy?
Yeah.
That's been my.
That part.
They took her off all her meds when she first got to the school, and then when I kept inquiring, well, has she seen the psychiatrist? Has she seen the
What psychiatrist?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We have an appointment for her.
Mhm.
I couldn't. They
Yeah.
lied. They lied through their teeth to me.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, okay, so if she saw the psychiatrist, is there going to be any therapy? What's going to happen after this suicide? Like, she needs some help here. She's struggling. They just in one ear, out the other.
They
And
just want to make sure the check clears. That's it.
Yeah, that
They
was
don't-
it.
They
And
don't give a shit about anything else.
I can't imagine how you get a group of so many adults who don't care about the students in their care. How do you
I feel like some of them were brainwashed too.
It could have
Oh,
been.
they had to be, because the person who was giving me feedback, and there was more than one person. There was another one.
Well, there's Sharon.
Yeah, there
Hi,
was another.
Sharon.
There was another person who was also giving me this vibe that this isn't a good place for her. So, and, I started to pay real close attention to these vibes I was getting, and like, I'm just not feeling this. I'm just not feeling this.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't no picnic when she came home. Trust me, it got
I went to
really
another-
bad.
I went to another boarding school shortly after, but that one was a cakewalk. That's not even
Okay.
neither here nor there. I got to go on field trips and all that
And she got to come home every weekend.
every weekend.
So,
That's
But-
good.
And if I wanted to run away, it was only a couple miles. So. But that's the other thing for these parents. Like, if the school is super secluded and not close to like the other school I went to is right off a main road. If
Yeah.
you're running away, you're running into people constantly. Like, people didn't run away from there because it wasn't that bad. But this other
Usually-
one was
Yeah.
what,
Secluded. Yeah.
6 to 8 miles away from the closest town.
Yeah. If it's out in the middle of nowhere.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what a lot of these schools do, is they are so secluded and nobody really knows what's going on there. And then people, like,
They get their
You can't-
feedback from the staff members.
yeah, and you can't run away from somewhere that's 6 to 8 miles away. Like, you're going to get down the road and picked up and brought back. And if you're lucky enough to make it to town, geez, good for you. You're a trooper, because I didn't have
And,
to.
and hopefully you don't get picked up by the cops.
Yeah, and if you do, you're going to get brought back anyway. So why even try? That was my thing. I was like, oh, I'm not even going to try. I think I tried running away twice. I made it to the woods, and it was the biggest, what's it called? Endorphin release ever. I was running. I was like, I'm out of here. And then I tripped.
Well, Nicole, Camille, thanks for coming on. This is
Thank you. You'll send us information on how we can see what your final
sure.
product is.
I'm sorry. Say
Are
again?
you going to put Tina's in with ours, or is that a separate
That's
thing?
gonna be a separate one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And will you share that info with us about when it's going to be broadcast or how we access it?
If you subscribe to the channel,
I don't
on
really,
YouTube?
but she
you
does.
know how to do it, then you'll get a notification. It'll
Okay.
pop up and it'll say your video is up.
Okay.
But still, let
So-
me know.
Okay, I'll text you and let you know.
And you'll be editing parts of this.
Yeah,
As
that
well.
one part at the beginning.
Including
yes.
that.
No, not that part. But thanks for coming on. This was
Thank you.
my heart goes out to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank
we
you, Jason.
appreciate all the help that you're helping
Yeah.
everyone get the word out there so other parents can make an informed
And-
decision.
Now that Agape shut down, now I got people from other schools coming out and wanted to tell the
Yeah.
story. So
Yeah.
I mean, when I have the time, I'll do it. And
Yeah.
if I don't, I'll reschedule for another time or whatever. But I want to make sure I get it out there.
Yeah.
So
That's great. Thank
okay.
you. Yeah.
So I'm gonna close the show. Stay on the line real quick, okay?
Okay.
So I want to thank everybody for watching. Please subscribe to the channel and comment. Really appreciate it. Let us know how we're doing. I want to thank Camille and Nicole for coming on. It was a wonderful time. If just to get it out, and it always makes you feel better when you talk about it. I mean, sometimes. I mean, not it's not for everybody, but But anyway, we'll see you in the next podcast. You take care of yourself. You take care of each other. We'll see you. Good night.
Good night.